we interviewed Dr. Yanez, which is a pediatrician, and the question I asked him was, why did he choose to work for the specific location that he is at right now? And the big thing that he said was location and money problems. So money problems entailing that he wanted to get paid 55% of whatever he billed out, and that's what he got. And now if he bills out $50,000, then he makes about roughly $30,000, which is what he actually makes per month. And then the second thing I asked him was, what are the hardships that physicians go through on a weekly basis and that we might not hear of? And the thing he said was, he works 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, but on Saturday and Sunday he's on call. So on Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't matter if it's his birthday, if it's Christmas, if it's Thanksgiving, if he gets called, then he has to leave his family, and sadly he has to not see them for the rest of the day, and he has to go help out his patients that are in need.
During our interview with Dr. Yanez, he talked to us about his past jobs and experiences that were helpful in getting him to where he is today, which were genetics and research classes, and also striving for good grades in college to help him in medical school and to get him through. And we later asked him what a typical work day for him was like. And he says that since he works in a clinic, he works from 8:30 in the morning to 5:30 p.m., but he's always on call and has to go in on weekends sometimes if his patients need it. But overall, talking to him helped me get a deeper understanding of pediatrics and what they do, and it just honestly made me realize that this is something I really want to do.
For my questions, I asked him on average how many hours he worked per week, and he said after all the paperwork and seeing patients that per week he works about 70 to 80 hours. I also asked if there are any specific factors that got him into medical school, and he said that his love for wanting to help others and help those who couldn't help themselves was a major factor in pushing him into going to the medical school to become a doctor. And then my last question I asked was if there was any advice he had for pre-medical students, and he said that one of the biggest things he could tell us was to strive to make good grades. No matter what class it was, what semester it was, to study, work hard, and keep our grades up and do well in our classes, which is really important, especially wanting to go to medical school.
So I asked our physician if there was any specific skills needed in his type of profession. So basically the physician said that communication and compassion are the two most important things, but mainly communication, and that's communicating with your nurses, communicating with the staff around you, communicating with the families of your patients, and having compassion when you're telling them the bad news and telling them that their loved one doesn't have much time to live. So that's really important to have instilled. I also asked him about his detailed pathway from college to where he is today. So basically he went to UTSA, he did all his undergrad, he really started to focus on what he wanted to do because he knew what he wanted to do, so he really applied himself. So he graduated college, he applied to medical schools all around Texas, he got into one. His first year was the hardest year. His second year, dragging along. His third year is when he started diagnosing, pretty much just threw him into the hospital and started seeing patients himself. His fourth year is when he started interviewing, and at this interview stage is when he started to go into the specialized field with what he wanted. That could be internal medicine, pediatrics, and there's so many more to choose from.